What is up, crafters? My name is Fancy, and today I'm going to teach you
all about cow farms.
We are going to start with the basics, that is transportation and breeding. So pretend we find a cow out in the wild. You want to lure this cow into your very nice cow farm up here. So how do you get these cows into your cow farm? Well, the easiest way that you can do that is by holding wheat. If you hold wheat, you notice the cow is now looking at me. He will follow me around for as long as I want. Same with this cow. If you want, you could also press the F key on your keyboard to put the wheat in your offhand, then you can hold something else in your main hand and you don't have to worry about switching off the wheat. The cows will follow you even up small steps, and then all you have to do is give them a gentle love tap right into the farm. And just like that, now they are farmable cows. Wow. Another option you have is if you are lucky enough early game, you can use a lead. A lead allows you to simply drag a cow wherever you want it, and that might make things a little bit easier. Aside from the lead, there is also the boat. Well, I already put a boat there. Just place a boat in front of a cow, and sometimes you may need to actually nudge the cow into the boat. But just like that, you can see the cows are going into a boat. Watch it one more time. Push it. Unfortunately, you can't do this with two cows on a boat, but if there's one cow, a boat is actually only one block tall, so you can just slip in right underneath this block. And just like that, we have a cow in the pen, nice and easy. So now we need to talk about the other aspect. How do you maintain a cow farm? And you do that by breeding cows. If you have two cows that are adults, and you give each of them wheat, the two cows will fall in love, and then we get a baby cow. Look at the little guy. Wow. If you need wheat early game, one of the best sources is hay bales, which you can find in villages. These can be crafted into 9 wheat each. Moving on, we have basics, farm hacks. So let's pretend we have a couple of cows in this enclosure. This is a decent looking enclosure, but you probably notice there's a lot of stuff going on here. So I'll explain it. So what we have here is a gate on top of a gate. The bottom gate is open, the top gate is closed. And as you see, these cows want to come out, but they cannot. If we are lucky enough to get a baby cow can fit right through this. Move it up, ladies. A baby cow can fit right through this. The same actually applies for the dirt block. Just as it works with a gate, however, a dirt block is just cheaper. You may not have a gate, but you probably have a dirt block. So instead, you can just do the same thing like this, and the baby cow can come right through, nice and easy. That way you can sort baby cows from adult cows. You may not want to do that, but you may want to do that. No one knows except for you, so just do whatever you want. The same concept applies over here. We have a gate that is sideways. You can actually walk right through this in and out of the farm. However, the cows are too big, they are too fat, they do not fit. However, a baby will fit. So this is another option in addition to one of these options if you ever want to sort your cows. Maybe you have a pit of death right here that you want your baby cows to fall into. I don't know, I don't judge, do whatever you want. Over here on the side, we have a piece of carpet. If you don't know, you are unable to jump over a fence normally. However, if you put a piece of carpet on it, you can suddenly jump on top of it. This makes it very easy to get in and out of your farm. Especially if you normally use a gate, you risk having the cows come out of the farm as you go in, and that's just annoying. Look at this guy, get out of there. Finally, if you're super weird, you could also tunnel in and out of your cow farm. But that would just be weird, so probably don't do that. Moving on, we need to talk about cow drops. Why do you actually want to have a cow farm in your world? And that's because cows drop two things, leather and raw beef. Raw beef is a great food source. You can put raw beef inside a furnace and it will slowly cook into steak, which is one of the best food sources in the game. However, a single piece of coal will only cook up to 8 pieces of raw beef, whereas a campfire can cook 4 at a time and it will cook an unlimited amount of the food. This makes it both faster and much more efficient, especially for early game. So if you're ever wondering, I always recommend using a campfire over a furnace to cook your food. The other item they drop is leather, and aside from leather armor, which isn't really good, leather is actually very useful later on in the game. Leather is an item used to make books, item frames, bookshelves, and even enchanting tables. And even if you don't need to use all of these, you're almost certainly going to want to use one of these. So it's best to start stocking up on leather as soon as you can. If you want to build the most simplistic cow farm possible, we have a cow right here. We're going to put wheat in our offhand. I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is. All we're going to do is dig down a hole, 2 blocks, then diagonally from that in any corner, dig down 2 blocks, and then 1 block. As you can see, a cow fell right into the hole, but it's normally not that easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 2 blocks in the corner just so we have something to push this cow into. And now we have 2 cows in this hole. Once we breed them, the 2 cows are going to turn into 3 cows. 5 minutes later, we can breed them again and turn those 3 cows into 4 cows. And then those 4 cows into 6 cows, those 6 cows into 9 cows, and so on up until we have 24 cows. Now the reason 24 cows is the cutoff is because of a mechanic in Minecraft called entity cramming. Anytime you have more than 24 entities, or animals, mobs, in a same 1x1 block hole, something will die. The game will not allow you to have 25 entities. That means that if we have 24 cows in this hole, and then we breed them, instead of ending up with 36 cows, we're instead going to end up with 24 cows and 12 dead cows. That means that 12 cows have died and we can get the drops from 12 cows. So instead of breeding them, I'm just going to add a bunch of cows to this hole to give you an example. In the bottom right corner, you can see what's going on. There are too many cows, so cows are getting hurt and dying by the entity cramming. And the reason for this hole over here is because you can collect drops diagonally. So you just step down here, and as you see, we now got 14 beef and 9 leather into our inventory, and that's pretty much it. All you need to do is after breeding your cows, some will die, you step into the corner, see what loot you pick up, and then walk away. And that is the most simplistic version of a cow farm you can imagine. It takes up almost no space at all, and it was set up within seconds. You really can't beat that, can you? This is to expand upon that last design, and you're probably like, but that was so easy. And you're right, it was, but you don't always want to collect your drops immediately, and if you just leave them there, they will disappear. So this is basically the next step up, as well as adding some mechanics to make things a little bit easier for you. All we need to do is find a spot, dig down 1 block, next to that dig down 2 blocks, next to that dig down 3 blocks, 3 blocks, 3 blocks. In the middle of this, place a chest, and then we are going to hold shift and place a hopper into it. If you don't know, if you have any object, you can hold shift and place a hopper so it will face that object. That means anything that this hopper picks up will feed into this chest. Compared to normally, a hopper will just face down, and it is what it is. So by holding shift, we have this hopper facing into this chest. And what we're gonna do here is place a glass block. You can also use a slab if you have it. You do not necessarily need a glass block, but you cannot use a block like dirt or stone. It needs to be a transparent block. Now we're just gonna place a piece of dirt up here, and on top of the hopper, we're gonna use our water bucket. And then once again, we need to lure some cows in here. In our offhand, we have 2 cows. I like making the little corner technique. Oops. This way I have something to push the cows against. Okay, now we have our 2 cows, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and I'm going to place a fence post above the cows. If you're not able to, sometimes you just need to give them a little love tap, and then I'm going to place a torch on top of this. This will just help light up the area and keep the enemies away. So once again, we're going to use the entity cramming technique, and once we hit 24 cows, this will be after a certain time of breeding. It's not going to be instantly like it is here, but once we end up with 24 cows in the hole and begin breeding them, so for instance now, we can then breed them, the cows will be so happy that they're being bred, and then this chest will collect all of the loot. Now we have a very easy way to collect the loot, and we don't need to collect it immediately. We can just breed the cows whenever we want and let it sit. If you don't have a glass block, you can also replace this with a top slab, cannot be a bottom slab. The point is you just need to be able to open this chest. If instead you use a dirt block here, you are unable to open the chest, so it needs to be a slab or a glass block, something similar. Better cooking. What do we have here? More campfires. We already talked about how the campfire is super useful. The issue with it is once the food cooks completely, it then flies off of the campfire, meaning we have to go and pick it up. So we can easily circumvent this by just having a hopper with a campfire on it, and then we can hope the hopper will collect some of the loot, and then it'll just be stuck in the hopper forever. You can make this even better by having some glass on the sides. This makes it so the cooked steak cannot fly outside of this box, and the hopper will then collect everything. As you can see, everything just flew off. However, you probably don't want just one campfire. So what we're gonna do is place down a chest, and then have a hopper leading into it, and then we're going to put a hopper leading into that hopper. This is called a hopper chain, and this hopper will feed into this hopper, which will feed into the chest. Same thing right here. This hopper feeds into this hopper, which feeds into this hopper, and so on. And we are just going to make this a 3x3 section, and we're going to fill it with campfires. And now once again, we are just going to circle this with 2 high glass walls. This is just to make sure our drops do not fly outside of the farm, even over the chest. Again, this block needs to be glass, only this block so we can open our chest. And then what we need to do is just build a little staircase up and in. So all we have to do now is come up here, place down all of our beef, and then just like that, everything will cook. And once it's done, the hoppers will collect it and feed it all into this chest. That is very handy, and it is much more efficient than wasting all of your coal early game on cooking food just so you can survive. Expanding the farm and hopper chains. Well, I've already taught you about hopper chains over there. I got a little bit ahead of myself, but expanding the farm. So we are gonna make the exact same farm as we did right over there. If you remember, we dig down 1, dig down 2, dig down 3, 3, 3. We place the chest in the middle, shift click a hopper into it, glass block on top. I'm just gonna use 2 glass for convenience. Place a water source. This is where our cows go. A little temporary block, a fence on top, and then a torch on top of that. Very simple, you remember that? I hope so. So we can actually expand this farm, and we can do that pretty easily. Now we have a very simple layout, and all you need to do is just make this little kill chamber right here on each side. So 1, 2, 3, dig down, place a hopper into the side of the chest, water on that, cows on that. We're gonna put our fence on top of the cows to keep them stable, and now we have a second chamber. Same thing over here, very quickly, hopper into the chest, water on the hopper, couple cows inside. You need at least 2 cows to start the breeding. If the cows are hopping like this, give them a little love tap and they should settle down, and just like that we have another one. You can also put another layer right here. However, if we break one of these grass blocks, the water will flow out and the cows will escape. So what we need to do is then use a hopper chain. So once again, we're just gonna come out diagonally, dig down 3, jump in the hole, break these 2 blocks. We're gonna put a piece of glass right here just to stop the water. It doesn't need to be glass, it could be dirt, whatever you want, but we just need to put a hopper leading to this chest, and then we're gonna turn around, dig some stairs out, and then we're gonna put another hopper leading to this hopper. Just like the hopper chains we used over there, we now have one right here. Now that that's done, we can just get out of the hole, and now it looks just like those kill chambers. So once again, water right there, cow, cow, fence, fence, love tap to get them to settle down, fence, fence, and we are good to go. The same can apply over here, and you can actually even mirror this whole thing right here, and then just have a whole little cow killing chamber set up. If you want to mirror it though, just skip 1 block, place the next chest right here, and then base it like this. Pretty cool, right? Right? That's how you expand this farm very easily, and there's nothing crazy about it. So, what's happening over here? So this is basically the kill chamber lifted up in the air so you can visualize it. Once again, only this block needs to be glass. These other blocks can be cobblestone, dirt, planks, whatever you want. As this will fill up with cows, eventually the cows will die due to entity cramming, and the loot from the cows will be collected by this hopper, which feeds into this chest. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is that? And yeah. By now, I think you guys understand the basics of this, so now we need to talk about this. I'm just gonna take these items out really quick. They don't actually have anything to do with this farm, but they will be used in this farm. What this is an item sorter by Impulse SV. And for right now, don't worry about any of this redstone. We're gonna focus just on this part here. What we have is a chain of hoppers that leads sideways, as well as hoppers going vertically into a chest. So the basics of this farm is if you put a bunch of items in it, what ends up happening is hoppers prioritize vertical movement. So this hopper wants to feed into this hopper, which wants to go into this chest. However, in this hopper, we have redstone and then some named items. Named items are just items that you use on an anvil, and in this case, I'm just using them to lock this hopper, but we don't need to go into that right now, and honestly, you don't even need to use named items. I'll show you more about that later. All you need to know for right now is that this hopper only wants redstone dust. So this hopper will start by trying to put something in here, but if it's not redstone dust, this hopper doesn't want it. So as you saw, we put multiple blocks in here. What happens is, for instance, the grass block. The hopper takes the grass block out, says, hey dude, do you want the grass block? And this hopper's like, nope, I only want redstone. So he's like, okay, and he moves it over to this hopper, which it's facing into. This hopper's then like, oh cool, grass blocks. Do you want grass blocks? And this hopper's like, yes, I love grass. And then feeds it down here and then into this chest. The same thing applies for everything. Each hopper only accepts 1 item, and they are all locked, which means that after a day of exploring, we're able to put all of our items into this chest, and then it will automatically sort into the respective chest. So this chest only has redstone, just like so. This chest only has grass, this chest only has stone, this is diorite, and this is diamonds. And again, we put everything at the same time into this chest. Now, if we put something that's not in any of these, what ends up happening is this hopper's like, hey, do you want glass? Nope. Okay, this hopper's like, hey, do you want glass? Nope. This hopper's like, hey, do you want glass? Nope, I only want stone. And so on the whole way over until this hopper's like, do you want glass? Nope. Okay, goes in the chest. This way nothing breaks the system, and that way we can continue to use this for as long as we want. So each slice, I'm gonna call this whole row a slice. So we have 1 slice, 2 slice, 3 slice, 4 slice, and 5 slice. Each slice allows you to filter 1 additional item. And you can use just 1 slice, or you can use 1,000 slices and sort every item in the game. It's up to you. And I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but you're probably like, how does this have anything to do with a cow farm? Now you may be noticing this is on the ground, this is in the air, they kind of fit together, So instead of this input chest where we can put any item we want, we can use this as an input chest from our cow farm. And that means this only needs to collect raw beef and leather. So we only need to sort 2 different items, which means we actually only need 1 slice. This is because we can keep 1 item in this input chest, and then we are only going to filter 1 item, which will be the beef. And you're probably wondering why. Well, I'll show you. We're going to put it all together. Don't worry, this is going to be a very simple farm. I know it includes redstone, and I know that might have sounded a little bit crazy, but I promise this will go nice and easy. So what you need are 5 building blocks, a furnace, fuel for the furnace, I'm going to be using coal. You need 1 redstone comparator, 1 redstone repeater, 1 redstone torch, 3 pieces of redstone dust, 3 hoppers, 2 chests, 8 pieces of glass, a bucket of water, an oak fence, and then a torch on top, because I like torches. You're also going to need a few pieces of raw beef to get the farm started, as well as 44 junk blocks that you're not going to get back, but keep them in stacks of 11, which will make things easier later on. So all you need to do is take your building blocks, place a block down, place another block on top of it, and then 1 block on each side. Now we have a very simple looking T, almost like the start of an iron golem or similar. We're gonna skip a block down here at the bottom, and then we are gonna place a furnace, and then we're gonna add coal to this furnace just to help clear out our inventory. So now on the other side, we're gonna skip a block, and then we are gonna place our final building block. So now it looks something like this. Next to the furnace in this space, we are gonna put a redstone torch against the wall right here. Do not place it on the ground, make sure it is on the wall. Now we're gonna go into this space, and we are gonna face the furnace, and we're gonna place our redstone repeater down, so now the farm looks just like this. We're gonna jump up on this step, and we're gonna place a piece of redstone, jump up on this step, place a piece of redstone, and then finally a 3rd piece of redstone. From here, on top of our furnace, we're gonna place a hopper, but we are gonna shift click to make sure we can place it into the furnace. And then while standing on top of this hopper, we are going to grab our redstone comparator, and we are gonna place it while facing the redstone, just like so. Now we're just gonna fall off the farm, and we are gonna hold shift and right click a hopper into the side of the comparator, just like so. Now you may need to tower up a little bit, that's fine, but we are gonna take our chests and put our chests right on top of this hopper, and then make it a double chest by holding shift and right clicking into the side of it. Now that we have this chest here, we are going to hold shift and right click a hopper into the side of it, just like so. We are going to tower up one more time. And what we're gonna do is surround this hopper with temporary blocks, just like so. And now on each of these temporary blocks, I'm gonna put 2 pieces of glass. This is the killing chamber that we've used in all of our other builds over there. And remember, this is the only piece that actually needs to be glass. Everything else can be whatever block you want. I'm gonna remove the temporary blocks. And now you can see we have a decent basis for the farm. Now, once again, we're gonna go add water on top of the hopper. We are gonna place some cows inside the farm. And if you're struggling to get cows in here, you can make a very basic set of stairs and cows will follow you up into the farm. Or you can just dig down and build this whole farm underground so the killing chamber is flush, then you just push the cows in. Once again, we're gonna top the farm off with a temporary block and a fence. Now, before we go and start breeding the cows, what we need to do is go into this top hopper, and we are gonna place a couple beef, as well as 44 junk blocks that we are not gonna get back. Now in this hopper below, you can see there's a beef here and there is nothing in this furnace. So why is this hopper not feeding anything down? Well, because it's locked. It's only gonna feed a piece of beef down when it receives a piece of beef. So it's gonna be a nice 1-to-1 ratio. We are gonna make 24 cows in here to begin the entity cramming. For you, you'll be needing to do this via standard breeding with wheat. However, for me, I'm gonna make a video, so I need to do this with cow eggs. That way it makes it faster. We don't have an hour. So as you can see, some cows died, and we'll look and see what's happening. In this chest, we now have some leather. Only 1 piece, not the best loot, but it is what it is. In this hopper, we still have our 1 piece of raw beef. In this hopper, we still have our 1 piece of raw beef. However, the furnace is now going, and you can see we actually had time to cook 2 steaks, and we've gotten 2 more beef ready to be cooked later. So basically, what this farm is doing is, as you breed the cows and exceed the 24 entity cramming limit, the cows then die, the hopper picks up the loot and places it in the chest. The chest will then contain both raw beef and leather. However, this hopper's like, hey, I want the raw beef, give it to me. And the chest is like, okay, fine, I'll hold on to the leather then. So the chest holds onto the leather, and what ends up happening to the raw beef is now that this hopper has it, it's like, you know what, I actually have enough. I'm gonna take a piece of beef, but I'm also gonna give one to this guy. And then this hopper's the same way. It's like, I have enough. I have my 1 piece of beef, that's all that makes me happy in life. So every time I take a piece of beef from this guy, I'm actually just gonna give it to this guy instead. the furnace really wants the raw beef. It basically locks each hopper to only containing the one item, so just like the sorting system back there, we've effectively filtered out only the raw beef and we fed it into the furnace so it can be cooked automatically. This means that as you progress through your farm, all you need to do... Oops, sorry dudes. Oops, oh no. Oh no. What a disaster. Oh no. Subscribe.